Welcome to this tutorial in which we are going to look at the graphics creation of this Cambridge A-level examination which came out in May-June 2023. Our focus is going to be on creating a copy of this image of a basic wheel with the provided parameters as shown in the question paper. And in the second part, we will edit our basic wheel into this new wheel, taking into consideration the details of the features shown below. So we're going to go into Illustrator and start creating the basic wheel. But before then, let's have a look at the dimensions and other parameters that were given. The diameter of the wheel is 250 pixels and the tire width is 15 pixels. The color is gray with the hex code given. The diameter of the hub is also given as 30 pixels with the hub color given as red. So in Illustrator, let's go to the new documents panel, and where we have the width and the height, we enter 300 by 300 pixels each because the diameter of our wheel is 250 pixels. So we need to provide an artboard that can just accommodate the wheel. So we are going to change the width and the height to 300. First, make sure that your units here is showing pixels. Then you enter the 300. You can leave the color mode on RGB and then you click on create. Now, if your interface or workspace is not looking like this, you can go to Window, Workspace, and change it to Essential Classics. If it's already on Essential Classics and it still doesn't look this way, you can come down here and select Reset Essential Classics. The next thing we would like to do is to ensure that your Smart Guide is checked. So to do that, let's go to View and ensure that it is checked like this. So to begin with, let's pick our ellipse tool from the shapes down here, ellipse tool, and change the color to what is provided in the question paper. So the hex code that was provided was 50, 50, 50. Click OK. Let's disable the outline for now. We'll add it later. And with the ellipse tool selected, we click once on the artboard. And in the dialog box, we enter 250 for the width and 250 for the height. Then we click OK. Now let's align this to the center of our artboard by clicking on the horizontal and vertical align. Now let's add a second ellipse so that we can use that to subtract and get the width of our ties. The width of our ties is 15 pixels. And the entire diameter of our ellipse is 250. So let's open our calculator. And what we are going to do is subtract 250 minus, it's not going to be 15 because the 15 is going to occur on both sides, on the right side and on the left side. So we are going to deduct by 30. So our second ellipse will have a diameter of 220. In effect, it's the same as the width and the height of 220. So let's click away, or just click on the selection tool and click away so that this is not selected. Let's pick another color. Let's say yellow. Pick the ellipse tool once again. Click anywhere on the artboard, and this time you enter 220 for the width and then the height and click OK. Once again, we go into alignment properties at the top, click on horizontal align and vertical align. Click on the selection tool and click away. Select both circles. And down here we find our pathfinder properties, and let's select minus or minus front. Click on it and then we have our wheel. Next, we are going to create the spokes for our wheel as shown in the question paper with a width of 15 pixels each and the same color as our tie. We are also going to create a hub with a diameter of 30 pixels with a hub color of red. So since the spokes are going to go around the entire hub, let's create the hub first so that it serves as a circular reference point for the spokes. So I'm going to go into the shapes and select ellipse tool and change the color from the color picker here to red. That is FF and 4 zeros. And then with the ellipse tool selected, I click anywhere on the artboard and enter the width and the height, which will be 30. Then I click OK. Then we go to the alignment properties at the top and click on horizontal align and vertical align so that it is centered. So for the spokes, now we select the rectangle tool, come back to the color picker and ensure the color is 50, 50, 50. Click anywhere on the artboard, and with that the width should be 15 and the height should be half the diameter of the entire circle, which should have been 125, but let's keep it at 124 and then click OK. So with this, once again we go to our alignment properties and do a horizontal align, but this time we don't need to do a vertical align. Make sure your selection tool is, or your move tool is selected, and let's move it up, but making sure that it doesn't go beyond the wheel, something like this. If you are moving and it goes out of alignment, you can once again just click on the horizontal align to bring it back into alignment. And since we are going to use the center of the hub as our reference point, we can reduce the height of our rectangle further to say 120. So something like this is just fine. Make sure your rectangle does not go beyond the wheel. So with the rectangle selected, we pick our rotation tool and click on the crosshairs. When you see center as shown, click on it and drag it down towards the center of the hub. Then you see center written again. It means you are at the center of the hub, and then you release. Now bring the cursor back there again as you hold down Alt. Click on that center point once again. Now you see your cursor changing to crosshairs with dots beneath it, and click once again. Then we have the rotate dialog opening. Since we want 6 divisions going throughout our wheel, so we're going to enter the entire degrees of the wheel, which is 360, and divide it by 6. So instead of clicking OK, we are going to click on copy, and make sure your preview is checked. So click on copy, and then this is what we have. So to replicate this throughout the wheel, you hold down Ctrl and press D repeatedly till it goes round. Now go back to your move tool or selection tool and come and select the hub, which is centered here. Right click, go to arrange, and select bring to front. Now do the same thing for the wheel, the tires of the wheel. Select it, right click, arrange, bring to front. Now we can select the entire wheel like this, and go to the outlines and select black. Click away, and then we are done with the basic wheel. You can now save your file as an SVG named basic wheel followed by your center number and candidate number as shown in the question paper. And to do that, we can go to File, Export, Export As. Then from the Save As type, we can change from whatever you see there. Mine is showing Photoshop, and then we select SVG. Then give it your name, and then click on Export. So we are done with the basic wheel. Let's move on to the new wheel. So for the new wheel, I've created another artboard, 300 by 300 pixels each, and we are going to begin by creating just the spoke. So to do that, we select our rectangle tool and select the color, which is of a lighter shade of gray, and it has a black outline. Click anywhere on the artboard, and I'm going to give it a width of 20 and a height of 120 pixels. Now let's zoom in on this, or let's zoom out and then align it to the center of your artboard. Now I'm going to pick the curvature tool, which has a pen with this line along with it, and look for a path or the point on a path which is in horizontal alignment with the center. Click and drag inward. So when you see the plus sign, you click and drag inward like this, just a little bit. And do the same thing for the left side, click and drag inward. Now you're going to create another rectangle. Click, select the rectangle tool once again, this time with a shade of black and no outline. This is going to be a bit thinner because it's going to lie within this. So For this, I'm going to give it a width of 15 and a height of say 130. Once again, align to the center. Now let's pick our curvature tool once again. Click and drag inward and do the same for the left side. Now one thing we need to add is the curves at the top and the bottom of the first one we created. So I'm going to go into the layers panel and hide the black one and pick my curvature tool once again. Click and drag upward here and click and drag this inward. Go back to my layers and enable or unhide the black one. Select the entire shape. Pick my shape builder tool. Hold down the Alt key whilst I bring up the minus sign and just click on the areas that we don't need. Let's zoom in on this like this. We can now select the entire spoke, right click, group, and drag and drop it on our basic wheel. So let's place this up here first. You can still use the horizontal to align it. And we zoom in on this detail, this portion. Now we can decrease the height to somewhere like this so that we can still have the center reference point. Zoom out, and now since we are not going to need the basic wheel spokes, I'm going to delete all of them. We can leave the hub because I'm going to use the center to recreate the spokes around it. So I'll select my spoke, pick the rotation tool once again, click and drag the crosshairs to the center. So where it says center, you release, hold down the Alt key till you see a double cursor, click once. When you see the dotted cursor, click again, and then we have our rotate dialog. Once again, we are dividing by 6, so we enter 360 divided by 6. Click on copy, then you press Ctrl and D repeatedly till it goes around the entire wheel. Now let's go back to the question paper for a quick reference. When we zoom in on the new wheel, you realize that we have some of the spokes in front and some behind. So this is in front, 1, 2, 3 are in front, and it seems these are behind. You can take a closer look here. This is how it should be. 1, 2, 3 are in front, and 4, 5, and 6 are behind. So we're going to bring this to the front, arrange, bring this also to the front, and bring this one also to the front. Now with the rest behind, We can now go back to our shape tools and select polygon tool. Now, the color showing in the question paper is yellow. So I'm going to click anywhere, and the radius required, okay, the size required should be 6. The radius can be any size because we are going to resize it anyway, but let me just put in 50 pixels. Click OK. And I'm going to bring that also to the center using my horizontal and vertical align. Hold shift and rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to hold down Alt and Shift whilst I reduce the size to meet the requirements of what we have in the question paper. So with a quick reference once again to the question paper, we have designed the spoke. We have ensured that the curved part of the spoke touches the tie or enters the tie a little bit, and then we have our polygon or our hexagon in front of all the spokes. So as we are done with wheel 2, we can once again go into File, Export, and export as new wheel. I think this, yeah, new wheel. Then I enter my imaginary center and candidate number and export. And now that we are done with both wheels, we can move on to the next part of the question, which will deal with the animation. But that I'll do in my next video. The most important thing we've learned in this tutorial is how to use the rotation tool and how to use the curvature tool to reshape the rectangle. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope to see you in the animation part, which is the second part of this tutorial. So till we meet in the next video, it's bye.